Hey guys, Justin here, back again with another video, and today I'm doing my Life is Strange double exposure Lego set. Now, if you're new to the channel, I actually did some Lego sets based off of the other Life is Strange games, and the first one was of Max's dorm, the second one was of the border of Life is Strange 2, and the third one was of the scene where Alex and Steph are performing on stage in true colours. And today, this Lego set is based off of the snapping turtle from Life is Strange double exposure. Now, this set is definitely the biggest out of any of the ones that I've done. It has like 1,150 pieces or something. So yeah, it's definitely the biggest, it looks the biggest, and it has the most parts. So yeah, and this set is also the only one that has 4 figures in it. The first one only had 1 figure, and the second and third one had 2 figures, but this one has 4 figurines. Now, I actually did a community post on YouTube where I was doing a poll because I wanted to let you guys vote for what scene or location that I was going to make this set based off of, and most of you guys voted for the snapping turtle. The other option that was voted the most, like second, was the rooftop scene, and if I gotta be honest, I was actually hoping that one was going to get chosen, and the only reason why I say that is because I already knew how much of a challenge the snapping turtle was going to be, and specifically for the part where there's like this big sort of mural or like artwork that's on the brick wall at the back, and I already knew that was going to be a challenge because you can't do custom printing on brick pieces in Lego, so I had to find a way to do it with like tiles and stuff. So it was definitely a challenge to do it, but I think I pulled it off, and I'm really happy with how the set turned out. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into the set. Alright guys, here is the Lego set right here, and I say this with pretty much every set that I've done so far, but I keep surprising myself with how these things just keep turning out, because before I built this I was like, oh, this is going to be such a challenge and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but I think I ended up pulling it off at the end, and I think it turned out really nicely. So yeah, this is the section of the snapping turtle that I chose to do. There were other parts that I was thinking about doing, like the spot with the fireplace, and there were a few other options, but I think this is the most iconic section of the snapping turtle itself, and I think it turned out really nicely. Now, first thing I want to say is that with the first set that I did on the first game, it was like a corner set, and I could have done that with this one, but I actually decided to make the walls be on both sides and the back, because it sort of captures the whole section that you go around the most in the game, and I thought it would turn out really nicely if I did both sides. So yeah, same thing as always, you know, with the black trim that goes around the sides and the bottom and the top of the whole entire set, and it ended up looking really nicely, so I'm really happy with that. Now, I think the most challenging parts to do of this set were definitely the seating booth on the right hand side there, and the actual roof that overlaps that seating booth. That was very hard to do and took a lot of trial and error, and I actually never thought I was going to be able to pull it off, but it ended up working because I had to try out a few different methods to see what would and wouldn't work, and it ended up working really nicely. So yeah, and obviously you can see the bar on the left side, which I'll show a better picture of later. That was a little bit of a challenge as well, but not as challenging as the seating booth on the right hand side. You can see some chairs and stools at the bar, and you can see the stage with the microphone and the lights and the cow skull and that big print of the artwork on the wall, which we'll have a closer look at in a minute. And you can see some paintings everywhere, table with benches, and yeah, this is just the first angle of the set. Now I'm going to show you a different angle, which is just, it's of the front again, but it's from the other side so you can see the bar better. I had to do that with this set because I made the walls go on both sides, so yeah. So you have a better look at the bar here. I'm really happy with how the bar turned out, and yeah, I just think it looks really cool. There's a lot of little details that go in just to make the thing everything all come together. And if you actually look at the left hand side there, you can see the little like door gate thing that I'm not sure what they're called. It's like a little door gate that sort of flips open to go in and out of the bar, and that's actually like some whiteboard or tray piece from like a Lego Friends set. I'm not even sure what it is, but it was like the only piece that was going to work for that, and honestly it works just fine. So yeah, now obviously you can see the 4 figurines here, which we'll have a better look at in a minute, but you can see the lights, the light bulbs hanging down from the top of the bar, which they're actually supposed to be not even like that, but I tried to do, you know, uneven like hanging light bulbs, but I couldn't find a good way to do it, so I just had to do it like all in like a perfect line, which it still looks fine anyway. So yeah. Now here's a picture of the back of the set. Now you can actually see a lot of lines and seams from all of the Lego pieces that I used, and I'm actually going to get into why that is in a minute, because it has everything to do with that back wall of the artwork that's on the back, and if it wasn't for that, all of the pieces would probably be a bit smoother. I think it still looks okay, but I'll get into why it looks like this in a minute. But yeah, that's just the back. Obviously you can see the wall going all the way around, all nice black trim. And here is another photo of the back, and you can see the windows from the seating booth. I pretty much did the exact same thing that I did with the Max Dorm Room set, where I just didn't cover up the windows because it would look better with the windows open from the inside of the set. So yeah, that's the back. Here's just the top-down view of the set, and you can see the black trim on the top cover the walls on the sides and at the back, and this pretty much just shows you how big the set is. And yeah, I think it's pretty clear that this is the biggest one out of all of the sets that I made. And honestly, if I really wanted to, I could make a few extra figures for this set later on. I just didn't think about that before because I thought that 4 figures would be enough, but maybe later down the track I can add figures like Vin and Diamond and Reggie, and we'll see. But I think for now the 4 figures is enough because it's sort of the 4 main characters that we sort of see the most throughout the game, and obviously Amanda has to be there because it's literally the snapping turtle. So yeah. Okay, here is a better look at that back wall mural. Now, this entire back wall is completely custom printed because, as I said before with the back wall, it's all like seams and lines because all of the bricks are actually like modified brick pieces where they have like studs on the side and you can stick bricks to the side of those bricks. So basically, I just used a bunch of tiles and custom printed bricks onto those tiles and then put those tiles onto those modified bricks, if that makes any sense. And you can sort of see that at the top here with the overhead lights on the stage. You can see there's tiles with little clip pieces holding on those beams with the lights, and every single piece of the back wall here is all tiles with custom printed bricks, and some of them are even like dirty pieces of bricks as well. But obviously the big standout here is that big piece of artwork. Now, I recreated this big piece of artwork entirely from scratch, as you can see here, but I Lego-fied it. So I made the painting of the girl on the wall, I made it entirely a Lego version, and even the fish are Lego. I tried to make the flowers Lego as well, and I think it turned out really, really nicely. I didn't think it was going to turn out this good, but I surprised myself, and yeah, I think it just works really, really cool. I could have just done it the exact same as the original, but if Lego were to make this a real set, they would make it a Lego version. So yeah, I think the only thing that I wish I could have done with this back wall print is making it as big as it is in the game, because if you look at it in the game, the sort of blue areas on the sides, they actually extend out a lot more in the actual game than they do on the version of the print that I did. And the only reason why I didn't do it is because that would mean I'd have to try and figure out how to extend it onto other tiles, which would have been really, really tricky. And considering there's paintings of the trees on the right hand side there, I wasn't really sure how I was going to pull that off and make it look good. And I think it still looks fine anyway, because I think sort of like the dirty bricks that are on the sides there, they sort of make up for that space that doesn't get filled in there. So yeah, I hope that looks good still. I think it ended up turning out pretty well, and if I used actual Lego bricks, I wouldn't have been able to even do this print in the first place. So I think the way it turned out honestly turned out perfectly fine, and yeah, let me know what you think of it. Now, another thing that is, you know, popping in and out of the game every now and then when you're playing it is the cow skull. Now, I was actually kind of confused on how I was going to make this because I didn't know if it was going to look good, but it was honestly pretty simple. I just got a modified brick and a little 1x1 slope piece and put some cow horns on the sides, and it turned out pretty much perfect. So yeah, now for the stage area here at the bottom, if you look to the left you can see, I'm not sure if that's like a jukebox or a radio. I'm not sure what that is in the game. I've never seen something like that before. You guys are gonna have to tell me, but I'm assuming it's like the radio or the jukebox or whatever. But yeah, some more custom printing at the bottom. You can actually see like this caution tape pattern on the bottom of the wall, like with the trim at the bottom. It's sort of a small detail that you can't really see, but I wanted to add it anyway because it is there, and it also just kind of brings it together in the final product. So yeah, I'm happy with how that looks. And you can see the stage here with the microphone and the speakers on the sides, on the corners of the stage, and two little studs there just in case you want to put someone standing on the stage. Okay, and here's a better look at the seating booth, and this was actually really challenging. I know it actually kind of looks like a simple build to do, that seating booth, but the seats were actually really hard to get right. And the reason why I say that is because when I made the base plate for this set, I had to try and find a way to perfectly fit every chair and table in that space, and I actually ended up having to move the wall back like 1 or 2 blocks, because this is sort of the outline and the color-coded plan-out template, or whatever you want to call it, for the set, where I made marks of where everything is supposed to go, and I sort of just like highlighted a part that said seating booth, and I didn't really think about how it was actually going to fit into that spot, so I had to make a few adjustments to the final shape of the set, and it ended up fitting in there. So yeah, it was a challenge to try and get those seats to look good, but I think they turned out pretty decent, and yeah, I'm happy with it. And obviously you can see some paintings and posters on the wall here. Now the 3 that are on the right side here, none of those are custom printing, so I just tried to get some that looked like the posters that were actually there. A funny thing is though, that one right there is actually a missing cat poster, and I honestly thought that was perfect because obviously if you get the exclusive cat content in double exposure, Max gets a pet cat and it's a missing cat from an owner in the game. So I think that works pretty cool, just as a little detail. And yeah, now on the left side you can see a few paintings and posters here that are all completely custom printed and completely done from scratch. So at the start of the game, you'll know that when you're trying to know like Amanda's interests and stuff, one of the things that you can do is flip the paintings because someone has flipped them upside down, and that's one of the things that you can do. So I recreated those tree paintings from scratch and I made the middle one upside down just because I thought that would be a funny little detail, and I'm really happy with how that looks. And that other poster to the right of it, that one is pretty much a direct copy of the one that's in the game, but I recreated it entirely from scratch in a paint program, and I think it turned out pretty nicely. So yeah, now obviously you can see the table here that Moses is sitting at. Not much to say about that, but yeah, I'm happy with how the table and benches turned out, so yeah. Okay, here's a better look at the actual bar itself, and I am really pleased with how this turned out. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but once I started adding more things to it, I was like, yeah, this is going to end up looking really cool, and it did, and yeah, I hope you guys like it. So as you can see, there's sort of tomato sauce, or ketchup if you want to call it that, and mustard on the bar there, and those are just Lego baby bottles, I'm pretty sure, just in red and yellow, and they just look like ketchup and mustard. So yeah, we've got a bowl, we've got some bottles, a menu on the bench there, and the beer taps, and you can sort of see the fish tank at the back, and the seats, and the lights, and you can see the chalkboards at the back as well, which one of them says beers of the month and always on tap. Now for the other writing at the bottom of the chalkboard, I just wanted to do scribble, because in the screenshot that I was looking at to copy this, I couldn't really read what it said, so I just decided to do scribble, and it looks fine anyway. It sort of fits with Lego's vibe a little bit, and yeah, I think it looks really nice. Now the other two on the wall are, there's like this poster of a TV with an eye in it, and that was redone from scratch too. I sort of tried to Lego-fy the eye a little bit, but it kind of just ended up looking like an eye in the Me Maker, but it still looks fine, and yeah, I'm really happy with how that one turned out. Now another one you can see is this chalkboard that says this week's worst pickup line, and that was one of the funniest parts of the first chapter, where you could go around asking people for good pickup lines, and yeah, that was a funny part of the game, and I added some scribble writing below that as well, and it turned out really nicely. here's just a full front view of the set here, and honestly this perfectly captures how long the set is, like how wide it is, and it honestly looks bigger looking at it from this angle, because from the like sort of angle that I had it at the start, it looked big, but in this photo it looks really wide, and it actually sort of captures the perfect size of how big the snapping turtle actually is in the game. And yeah, I'm really happy with the size of this set. As I said, like over 1,000 pieces, biggest set that I've made so far. And yeah, now let's get into the 4 figurines. Okay, here is the double exposure Max Caulfield Lego figure, and this turned out really nicely. And I know this isn't her most iconic look in the game because she only has this look in like one episode at the start, but this set is based off of the first episode, so the figure has to be based off of her outfit in the first episode. So yeah, that was sort of a reason why I wanted to do the rooftop scene, is because I think her most iconic look in the game is that outfit with the green coat and the yellow beanie. But yeah, I might do another set in the future, but this figure ended up looking really nicely. I know she doesn't have her bag in this scene, but I think giving her the bag for the figurine just really brings it together. And yeah, custom printing for the torso entirely, which turned out really nicely, and the face is actually completely custom printed too, and I based it off of the face that I used for the Max figure in the first set that I did. And at that point I didn't know how to do custom printing, so I just used a face in studio and just sort of photoshopped freckles onto the face. But now that I figured out how to do custom printing, I remade the face entirely from scratch with the freckles and just changed the color of the lips, and yeah, it's entirely custom face print for Max, and it looks really cool. The hair was actually a little bit tricky to decide because there isn't one that looks exactly like Max's hair in double exposure, but I think this one was the closest and it looks really nice. So yeah, and then obviously just light blue legs for the jeans. So yeah, that's the Max figure. Alright, here is the Safi Lego figure, and this turned out really cool as well. I almost wasn't gonna do a custom print for the torso because I saw one that already looked similar to hers in the game, but it wasn't like 1-to-1, and at that point I already had done custom printing for every figure already, and I thought if I didn't do it for the Safi one, it'd be kind of annoying me, so I decided to do custom printing off of her look in that scene as well, and it turned out really nicely, and I'm really happy that I decided to do it. So yeah, now the hair piece for Safi was actually really hard to choose because there isn't one that looks exactly like her hairstyle, like the little hair strands coming down in front of her face. So this was the closest one to her hair in the game, and it honestly looks fine anyway. I don't really think I need to do anything to it. If Lego were to make a Safi figure, they would probably just use this hair piece because it honestly looks really good anyway. So yeah, the face print is not custom. This is actually the same face print that I used for the Steph figure in my True Colors set, because for some reason it works well for Steph, but it also works well for Safi. So yeah, and she's just holding a bottle here like in the game in that scene, and it just really brings the figure together and it looks really cool. So yeah, and just some grey legs for her jeans as well. Okay, and here is the Moses minifigure, and this turned out like almost perfect, to be honest. I'm really happy with how this figure turned out, and it just looks really cool. When I was looking at face prints for Moses, I literally just searched up beard with glasses, and the first one that came up was one that looks exactly like him. So that was really cool, and I didn't have to do any custom printing for his face. So yeah, and the hair piece, I was actually stuck between two hair pieces because there was one that looked like him and it looked good, but there was also this one which looked really cool as well, and I was kind of on the nose of which one to pick, but I think this one looks more like his haircut in the game, so I'm happy with how that looks. Now I'm like really happy with how the torso turned out with this, and obviously it's completely custom printed. Pretty much when I was putting these figures together, I used like placeholder torsos, that ones that looked similar to their looks in the games before I did the custom printing, just to see what the figures were going to look like, and there was one that looked similar to his outfit in the game, but it wasn't quite right. So the torso and the arms are completely custom printed, and you can see his little like badge or key card or whatever you want to call it hanging there, and it's just a little silhouette of like a little Lego figure, if you can see that there, and it turned out really cool looking. So yeah, and lastly you can see the hoodie and just the light blue pants for the jeans. So yeah, that's the Moses figure. last but not least, here is the fourth figure of the set, which is the Amanda Lego figure, and I'm really pleased with how this figurine turned out as well. And I think the only thing that's sort of inaccurate about this figure is the hair, because there's no hairstyle that has like two buns, so that was kind of a bummer, but this was the closest thing I could find, which was two little pigtails, and it still looks pretty much exactly like Amanda, so I'm not really complaining about that, to be honest. I think it looks fine anyway. So yeah, the face is not custom printed. I just tried to find one that looked like her, and I think that works really well for her in the game. And the torso and the arms are completely custom printed, and I'm really happy with how this looks. And obviously, as I said, I used placeholders for the figures before I made the custom prints to see what similar ones there were before I did the custom printing, and there was one that sort of like resembled her outfit, but it didn't quite work. So yeah, custom printing for every single Lego figure in this set, and I think it works really good. And she's just sort of holding a brush here. I think it's from like a Lego Friends set or something. I just decided to give her a brush because in the game you can see her like cleaning the top of the bar and stuff, so I think that was like a cool little accessory to give her. And just some brown pants for the jeans or cargo pants that she wears as well. So yeah, that's the Amanda figure. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for the Life is Strange Double Exposure Lego set. I really hope that you liked it, and if you have any suggestions for other sets I should do in the future, just let me know in the comments below. And I'm honestly thinking about doing a Before the Storm set, just not like a big set, but just like a small one with just 2 figures. But yeah, I might end up doing more sets based off of the games as well, like a second one for the first one or a second one for the second one, if that makes any sense, instead of just doing one set for each game. So if I do another set based off of Double Exposure, I'm probably going to do one based off of the rooftop scene, because that was the second most voted one on the poll, and I really would like to do that, mostly because of the figures. I really want to make figures of their outfits in the snow, which would be really cool. So yeah, other than that, I hope you guys like the set. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video if I'm gonna make another set. So yeah, have a good day guys.